Hi there, my name is Jay with Server Matter and CompuMatter, and let's talk a little bit about virtual machines, VirtualBox in this case, and a case where your drive in Windows is growing and growing and growing, and even though your virtual machine has nowhere near the drive space being taken that Windows says it does. I've run into that problem. It's been very disruptive. It's probably taken 15 hours of my life easily, maybe 20, isolating it, trying all the things, and eventually solving the problem. And it's such a small demographic of people that are going to run into this. I almost didn't create the video at all, but it's so damn tricky to figure out that I felt for those that do stumble on this video, that do need it, it's going to be valuable to them. I wish I had it. So let me give you the lowdown. So this drive that you see in the corner here, this 4 terabyte, it shows 830 gigabytes free of 3.6. So almost 3 terabytes is supposed to be taken by a virtual machine. The actual virtual machine in that case is only about 500 gigabytes. And this happened to me about 6 months ago, where I had that same virtual machine grow to 2 terabytes, and I'm running out of space. And I ran out of time. After trying so many things and not resolving it, I said, you know what, I'm just going to clone this 2 terabyte drive to a 4 terabyte drive and keep using it because development's too important right now. And there we are, 4 or 5 months later, 6 months later, it had taken up all the way up to 4 terabytes. And I'm using for my development environment, I'll show you this. I'm using a ZFS arrangement, which is, in my case, part of the problem. It may not be part of your problem, but the resolution is going to be the same, I'm sure. So you can see this is my 4 terabyte here. You can see I have 4, it says 4 drives. They're all VDI files and 2 operating system drives. So I've actually carved 6 drives out, plus the 2 operating system drives. But in order to conserve space, I've deleted 2 of the ZFS drives. I'm using RAID Z2, so I had the luxury of doing that. I've one at a time removed those drives to free up space, even though the space wasn't being taken to begin with. So it's all kind of crazy. In the final analysis, here I am bucking up against 4 terabytes. I have to solve this problem. So I researched the hell out of it all over again. One of the things that it told me to do, I'm talking about AI and the rest of the world, because this is the road I went down 6 months ago. One of the things is to completely zero out all unused space on your virtual machine. So you go into the virtual machine, in my case it's Linux, run a program like DD and create a 0 space file and get rid of, pack the whole thing empty with zeros, and then with that done, remove the file that created the extra space. And if you've done this before, you know what I'm talking about. And then close the VM, go to VirtualBox, and run a compact bash script, which is supposed to compact that inner drive and then report back to Windows what the real space is. And that's the key. It's supposed to, VirtualBox in my case is supposed to be reporting to Windows what the drive space is that's being taken by the VM. It seems like, at least in the case of ZFS, it has its own maintenance for freeing up space and making it available to the system and so on, and VirtualBox is not able to recognize when space is freed. It only recognizes when space is taken. So it reports every time you write something new and close out, it reports it back to Windows, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it never takes anything away as your inner VM is shrinking in size. So that's the problem in a nutshell. The compact did no good in this case. I zeroed out the whole drive. I went through that process. I spent all the hours necessary to zero out my the remainder of my 4 terabyte drive, since only 500 gigs was taken. I spent all the time compacting my 6 data drives. Actually, I went home, while it was doing what it did, and it took a very long time. And when I came back in the morning, made zero difference. So at least in the case of ZFS, it's going to fail you. Let's get to the solution. The only way that you can solve this problem, minimize myself. So let's start by looking at the finished product. That is this 2 terabyte drive. We've got 188 gigs each. Let me just go and click in there. And here is the key to it all. Right there, storage details, fixed size storage. You're going to have to recreate your machine. You're going to have to make it fixed size storage and migrate your world from your old machine to your new machine. On the original machine, if I look at that, we look at the storage. I'll pick one of these drives, and here it says virtual size 1 terabyte, actual size 631 gigabytes. It's not 630 gigabytes. Combined for all the drives strapped together, that actually might be the size of all the drives strapped together. There's probably a key ingredient right there. And it's calculating the size of them all and doesn't know how to sort out the fact that it's a RAID. And that is it in a nutshell. It solved the problem. So I've since, with the 2 terabyte that I've gone through all the trouble, I'm migrating all my stuff from the other server to the new server, and I wanted to make sure it was complete, that I'm doing backups, I'm doing all the things I normally do on that 2 terabyte system, and the amount of available space has not moved an inch. I'm going to show you that. My PC, okay, right here. So this 2 terabyte says I have 243 gigabytes free because I did carve out 1.81 terabytes. Now, unfortunately, I'm not using that much space on the VM. I'm only using around 500 gigabytes. I think over time I might use this much, so I'm allocating it up front. I imagine I could expand it further, clone this to a 4 terabyte, expand the partition, and provide more space to it in the future. Those things are probably possible. But the bottom line is that 243 gigabytes of available space never changes. It doesn't get any bigger. The problem's gone away. And that's it. I hope this helps you in your world. If you're getting a red line in Windows from VirtualBox, switch from dynamic to static drives. You're going to have to create your VM all over again to accomplish that, but it'll get the job done. And if you like videos like this and you want a front row seat, be first in line to see them, please be sure to like or subscribe. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.